Hey guys,
Hi.
how is everybody?
Hope you're doing good. Hope the holidays was great, specifically Christmas and New Year's.
Yes. So we want to hop on, kind of give you guys an update as to where we are along this IVF journey.
Yes.
It's been a little bit.
So, just a quick overview. Transfer went well. You guys know that. Since then, we've had a Christmas break. We went, had Christmas. It was about 6 day little mini vacation that we did.
Did you say 6 days? We were gone from
10 days.
the 20th. I mean, from the 17th to the 26th.
Okay. You know, it all meshes together at
Go
some
ahead.
point. Vacation, it all comes
vacation. We were ready to come home.
Yes. But it was great. It was fun.
Yeah.
Did a family vacation. Super amazing. At that point, I was about 5 weeks, about 5.5 weeks, almost 6 weeks. My weeks changed on Wednesdays, so I was about 5.5 weeks. That Wednesday would have been about 6 weeks on vacation. Unfortunately, in the midst of vacation, had a little bit of incident, had a bowel movement, had some bleeding. Not good. That actually happened on like Tuesday or Wednesday, so the day I turned.
Stinky too. I was just playing. Go ahead.
I smell like roses.
Go ahead. You know how roses really smell.
So listen, so so that happened. Wasn't any more blood though. I contacted the doctor, nurse practitioner. She's like, hey, come see us once you get back in from vacation. Tuesday, went in. It's amazing. We seen the heartbeat, heard the heartbeat, 136 per minute, 136 beats per minute. Baby Harbison's heartbeat was going, and it was like little flashes. It was so cute. It was just so adorable. She did say, however, that baby's measuring a little small.
Just short.
Yeah, I have small babies. Duh. So bleeding had stopped though. So she was like, well, let's just make sure baby is doubling in size. And she set us up for another appointment for the following Tuesday. She's like, cool. So me coming in the following Tuesday, now I'm 7 weeks, 6 days. I'm like, okay, no problem. Get there. Heartbeat is 132 beats per minute.
Get to see baby brain now.
Yes.
Get to see baby arms.
Yes.
Baby leg. Yeah.
And little paddles. They were just like little paddles and had like
That's why I did this.
Yes, paddles. His paddles aren't the greatest, but it's okay. But look like a little baby gummy bear. It's like baby Harveston. It's so cute. So she was like, well, baby's still measuring small, but baby is doubling, so we are excited. So let's find out if baby is a he or a she
2 weeks.
in 2 weeks. So that would have been when I'm turning about 9 weeks and 6 days. We're like, okay, 2 weeks out, we're gonna do a gender reveal. Okay, yes, not us. She was gonna do one for us. How about that? And that would have actually been this coming Tuesday, which is January the 18th. Today is actually Saturday. So it's been this coming Tuesday. In the meantime, some stuff happened. A lot of stuff happened. So yeah, that's what we're here to talk about.
Yep. So on Sunday, some of the bleeding and things started again this past Sunday, which would have been the 9th. Of January. So some bleeding kind of came back around. There was a little bit of mucus or what have you. So kind of question marks and things like that. Gheilescia called the pharmacist. The pharmacist said, because you're coming off some of the medications that she was coming off of.
Estrogen, to be specific. Estrogen, progesterone was actually where we were being weaned off of the progesterone, and we did a cold turkey on the estrogen. So I had 2 estrogen pills I was taking and an estrogen patch.
Right.
So with that, the pharmacist was like, well, your ovaries are kind of waking up a little bit at this point.
Right. So with that, the pharmacist was like, hey, it's possible that it's normal. These are certain signs that you should look for, to be concerned about and things. Meanwhile, Gheilescia had reached out to the nurse. That's between Sunday and Monday. She had reached out to the nurse to let her know, what was going on or what have you. The nurse said, hey, let's have you come in on Tuesday.
So it was actually a really freak out moment for me because Sunday I was like, we're okay, because they said that's pretty normal for IVF women to, especially 50%, from my understanding, especially at the first trimester, mostly have bleeds somewhere, some kind of spotting or something.
Right.
It's never alarming. So I'm like, okay, this is brown. We're not alarmed on Sunday. Monday night, I'm like, we're still not going to go in until actually this coming Tuesday. That was the plan. And I'm not having bowel movements. So it's just not, at this point, it's like, there's some blood here.
Right.
And it's still dark, kind of brownish, but now there's like this mucus like stuff here.
Which typically the darker blood is typically like older blood and stuff like that. So with everything processing or what have you, and waking back up from coming off that medicine,
we just thought that it was older blood, especially since it was more brown.
Right.
But if it's a deeper red to it, then it's some fresh blood that's mixed into that, and that's when you need to be alarmed. So now I'm looking at some mucus like stuff, because this is blood clot. This is mucus. It's about the size of my thumb. What is happening here? So now I'm looking at that, and I'm like, okay, let's call or text. So I text her, and she was like, what I said specifically was, is this a freak out moment or what? Do I freak out now or what do I do? And she was like, not yet. Come in tomorrow. So instead of us waiting until this Tuesday coming, we had to go in last Tuesday, which was the 11th. We get there, it's late. She said, I'll be there anytime after 9. We get there. They take us straight back. I lay there. I just, how sometimes you have this gutsy feeling. I don't want to look at the monitor. Jonathan, he's got it. And I'm like praying for good news, and that's not what we get.
Right. So, we're looking, and they're looking, because the nurse practitioner had another nurse in there as well, taking a look at everything that's going on. And during that process, we kind of look at her face, and and she just shared with us, there's no heartbeat. And me being me, I was like, let me see. So I looked on there, and where we saw baby Harbison's flicker, his heartbeat, or their heartbeat, before it was no longer there. So at that point, we had to have a discussion as to how to proceed. Whether DNC, which is a procedure to go in to remove the embryo, the baby,
basically scrape the uterus,
right, or do it medically, which forces contractions to force labor, and weighing out the options, the pros and the cons, and things like that. We chose to do the medicated option because that was what was best for us.
The biggest difference is if you do a DNC, when they're scraping, it's possible for there to be a little bit of scar tissue left over, which then interferes with you getting pregnant again. It's very minimum, but it is like you do it there in a moment, and boom, you're done. You might have a little bit of bleeding afterwards, but you're done. With the medication, this is a medication people use sometimes for abortions when they're around 6 to 8 weeks or so, and it forces you to basically go into labor and forces you to have the contractions, and it basically forces everything out within 4 hours of you taking the medication. It's crucial. 4 pills, and depending on who your doctor is, they might prescribe those pills 1 every hour, 1 every half an hour, 4 all at once.
Right.
Whatever the case is, you're gonna have your baby within those 4 hours, and everything that's in there is coming out as well. It can look like a massacre, or it can be a massacre. Right. I don't know how else to say that.
Yeah, it could be progressive, smaller amounts, but longer, or, sometimes it could be, one or two goes. But regardless, that it's typically expected, that there's some continual bleeding and things like that or what have you. So anyway, fast forward, because this is our third, fourth time trying to record this video, and it sucks having to do it. So we just want to inform you all, because you all are on this journey with us. So a lot of pain, a lot of blood.
It's very painful. Took the pills that Tuesday. As soon as I got back in, took that to some other medications, and within 2 hours, everything began for me, and baby Harbison was out of my uterus within about 4 or 5 hours after that. The question was, what do you do when you have your mini baby there at that point? Do you bury him or her? What do you do?
Right.
What we decided to do was to bury him or her. I guess at this point, though, we can go on and tell you what the gender was, or is. I
slipped up a little bit earlier.
You did slip up a little bit earlier.
Yeah. So on this video, I don't know if you caught it on this video.
I caught it on this video.
Well, I don't know if you guys caught it, but it was a boy.
Yes.
Is a boy.
Is a boy.
Right. So we had him, and we did, like she said, decide to go ahead and bury him. And we named him prior to burying him.
Right. And I said Zion has to be in there, so Zion is the first name. Right. And to kind of give a backstory of the middle name, when we were coming back, because it's about an hour drive to get back from our IVF facility to home, and during the process, of course, just praying mentally, just listening for God during this process, because it's rough. I know many people have gone through it before, but that doesn't make it easier. And just listening for God, like, how is it that you want to comfort me during this time? Because I'm not going to preach a whole sermon, but the Bible does say that the Holy Spirit is a comforter, and He knew I needed comforting at that moment. So one of the thoughts came to my mind, in listening for him, was one of the things that you look forward to with your children is, you look forward to those moments, where you're laughing and playing and things like that. And one of the moments that I thought forward to is, racing this little boy and things like that or what have you. And I thought about it and said, a lot of times you kind of let your kids win to kind of boost their confidence and things like that. And our ultimate goal is to see God. My ultimate goal is to see God face to face. And that was a race that Zion had beat me in. Our very first race he won, and I did not have to let him win. So it was a proud dad moment. And so with the middle name, I wanted the middle name to signify victory, because he had won the race. So the middle name is Gheilescia, which, my name is Jonathan. People call him Jay for short sometimes. Right. And then growing up, everyone called me Leash. Right. Instead of saying Gheilescia, they're just like, hey, Leash. And so you have now this name, which is Gheilescia, meaning Lord of Victory. Right. So, and then Zion means Kingdom of God or Holy Place. Right. So it seemed like the name just fit him so well. Right. So. Right. So yeah, that's that. How are we doing? We're doing. It depends. We, as you could tell, top of the video, we weren't faking anything, trying to be happy or anything. We still have joy. We still have hope. Hurt doesn't hurt the same when you have hope. So we still have that in God, and we still know who God is during the process, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't hurt at all. Right. Definitely does. So we're doing, some moments are better than others. Not angry or anything like that. It's one of those things with death that, especially that we've learned, is that There's no point in being angry about, we know it's part of a grieving process or whatever, and there's no point. I'm not big on denial, at all. It's like, this happened, this is real. But understanding that whether it's death or life, God is still God, and understanding as well that he loves each individual that we lose more than what we could ever love them. So
and takes better care of them too.
Exactly. So for us to be angry with God or say, God, why would you allow this? It was simply an honor and a privilege to carry Zion for, my weeks that I got to carry him. That was a privilege by itself, 8 weeks, 6 days, I got to carry him, and I'm excited about that. The Lord didn't say how long Zion would be with us. He never promised us years or days or weeks. We know that each one of us has a clock over top of our heads counting down. So when you lose that individual, we count it as a loss because we're selfish individuals, and we love and we think of ourselves in the midst of the situation. But really, God is amazing, God enough to where he steps in, he intervenes, and he comforts us. And the reality is we'll see Zion at some point. We'll meet him again, now he gets to be in that cloud of witnesses cheering us on. So, we're excited about that. I do want to say, before we get off here, I do want, some of you are probably wondering what exactly happened in the midst of how, what happened, what caused the miscarriage. In total honesty, the nurse practitioner said there was one of two things that happened. One is maybe I have a clotting factor, some type of disorder, which we're going to go back into some testing after my HCG levels, mellow out, and, there's no longer any trace of that in the blood for me. And two, the other reason could have been there was something that kind of didn't go right with the transfer. Maybe baby Zion didn't take as well as what we thought, or whatever have you. I'm figuring it's more so that, just because of the fact that baby Zion was measuring small. He was measuring small. I was having bleeding off and on. The uterus in the beginning, my nurse practitioner was kind of iffy about anyway before we got the transfer, but we went on and did it, and she was kind of like, okay, and the doctor went on and improved it and said we could, so we did. So we're leaning more towards that, but we have testing coming up. She said that we would be able to look at getting another transfer in about 2 to 3 more months after we go through all of this. And so we're not done.
Right.
We'll be back. We'll be back on here, and so we're definitely coming back to you guys with more videos of our updates and where we are in the next journey.
The next portion of this journey.
Yes.
And lastly, what I want to share is I know, many are asking, how are we doing and things like that or what have you. And this is a process. It's going to be up and down, as I mentioned before. But personally, and I'm going to speak for both of us, and I absolutely love the outreach and the support. If you see us out in public, don't do the whole somber, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm praying for you. Like, you can let us know, hey, I'm praying for you. But if you talk, especially me, if you're talking to me, listen, upbeat, like, hey man, like, sorry to hear about what happened, man, but love you guys. Like, you don't have to do the, and I know it's prayer, it's words of comfort and things like that. God had other plans, and
I'm so sorry.
Right, and he gives his toughest battles to his strongest soldiers. Hey, we aren't mad at God. Like, we understand that God is God, and we don't understand him completely. Or his thoughts are high above our thoughts, and his ways above our ways.
We are not angry, we are not bitter, and we are not depressed.
Right. We still have joy. So just wanted to share that with you all, or what have you. So don't feel like it's fake, or don't feel like you have to force being happy or anything like it when you're talking to us. Just, hey, just like if it was 6 months ago. Hey, man, good to see you. Love you guys, or what have you. So,
and that works for us. So, we'll be coming back at you guys pretty soon. After we kind of go, we have actually another appointment coming up tomorrow. Make sure everything's cleaned out. Tuesday. So we had to keep the appointment for Tuesday instead of a gender reveal. Though now we're gonna go make sure that I still don't need a DNC. That is the catch with if you do the medication route. Sometimes everything doesn't come out, and you might have to take the medication again, or they still have to do a DNC. So we're gonna go and get that kind of checked out. Make sure everything's good. But other than that, we'll be hitting some tests in a few weeks, and once we start that portion of the journey back up, we'll be coming back at you guys again. So we hope to see you guys in a few weeks. Let you know where we're at on this next in the rest of this journey.
Right.
And hopefully we'll be able to bring you some better news.
Right. So again, we love you guys, and thank you so much for being on this journey with us. It is definitely a privilege to walk this journey with you all, and all the love and support has been amazing. So thank you guys, and we'll see you soon.
Love you.